Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. You just saw a short clip of Angela Brown, CEO of Yeshua's House. Thank you so much. She comes on with me the first, what day is it? Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. East Coast time. Hey, Angela.
Hello. And let me congratulate you on your 5th year now that I can see you face to face. I'm certainly glad you started this enterprise.
Oh, thank you so much. I loved your video. What she's talking about, everybody, is this is the beginning of my 6th year. 5 days, 5 years and 2 days. I'm counting. I'm excited. And she was gracious enough to do a video for me. I had asked a few people if they wanted to say anything about my anniversary, and she said yes, and it was a beautiful video. She comes on with me. We're celebrating a year. How long we've been together?
It was a year in September, I think. Well, maybe we started in October. So I think it was a year in October.
So we have an anniversary together.
You graciously asked me to join you once a month, and it was a step for me. In fact, I want to talk about that a little today for our topic, which is what is authenticity?
All right. Well, what is authenticity? What we are, limited resources awareness is to let people become aware of what's going on in their community as far as shelters available, resources available, and not to label people as necessarily being homeless or stigmatize them. But what we want to do is bring awareness into the community of being mindful of each other's situation, except for a paycheck and a situation, it could be you. And Angela is the CEO of Yeshua's House. She has 2 residential locations there in the city of Petersburg, Virginia. And she comes on once a month and she talks to us about different things. And I just want to give a shameless plug to the event that she had. Well, she's had a couple of events, but J.B. Bryan came on and was a guest speaker at one of her events, and she talked about the financial security. And Angela also shares that in some of her programs that she offers as a member of the residential services. So I'm not going to talk too much about it because Angela does that. But Angela, so how does your topic tie into limited resources, domestic violence, and that type thing?
Well, authenticity is being able to be yourself and accept yourself. And this is what is denied a person who is being abused. Okay, it cuts to the very fabric of a person's spirit and soul. So it's a very important topic. It's something that we do talk about with our women, about connecting back to who they really are, because I believe we all had that authenticity as children, and sometimes we lose it because of what we let others put into our heads, how we're treated, and so forth.
Wow. I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, well, I also wanted to mention that you always ask me, what do we have going on at the beginning of the broadcast? So I wanted to let you know that this spring, COVID hit our ladies very badly. And they were either on reduced hours or laid off entirely. And during that time, Mary Foley created an event for us, and over $2,000 was raised. And we paid their program fees through that so that we wouldn't have to let anybody go and we could continue to provide our services. And so that segues into what we're doing this month. Mary, who is a wonderful supporter of us, Mary Foley is a biz coach for women entrepreneurs. And she's also a public speaking coach. And she can get blood out of a turnip for people wanting to speak publicly. And you can find her at Mary Foley at maryfoley.com. But the last thing she did for us was give us a smoked glass table with a hidden leaf valued above $2,500. And she said, raffle it off and make some money. So that's what we're doing as of November 13th. You can buy tickets, and then we'll have the drawing on December 11th or 12th. And you can find all that information on Yeshua's House Facebook come the 13th of November.
Wow. And how much did she say that table was worth?
She paid over $2,500 for it. And it's got a leaf, and it is a beauty. We're going to have a video of what it looks like and how to use it. Are you hearing a scratching, my dear?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my cat. Let me get her out of this room. She's scratching on paper.
Well, that's what you get when we have live TV. But let's just keep talking about the event that's coming up. I think that is an absolute amazing thing. And so that's what we want to encourage you to do. If you don't have anything that you want to share monetarily through her Cash App or different things, offer something that's tangible that they can raffle off. One of the things that she was working toward replacing windows in the second residential area. So there's always a need for something. So if it's not a financial donation, I love the fact that you can donate in kind. You can donate your services. You can donate repairing the windows. You can donate the windows. There's a lot of things you can do. But that being said, Angela, yeah, I kind of figured it was your pet. But that being said, congratulations on the donation. And yes, Mary Foley is a very strong supporter. So is our financial analyst, JB Bryant.
Yes.
You all go way back, but that was an amazing event that she also encouraged donations to. So I was saying that I didn't even look at the fact that you are not your authentic self if you have been traumatized in some way to believe that your authentic self should be subdued, that it's not worthy. Your ego is messed up. Your self-value is devalued. So let's keep going. I did never looked at it like that.
Okay, yeah, you just made me think of Archie Bunker always saying to Edith, stifle.
That's like, stifle it, Edith.
That's right. That's right. So that's an example. He was a great verbal abuser. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question to get us started on what is authenticity. When I told you what the topic was, I think you gave me a thumbs up or something, and I want to know what do you see as authenticity? What is authenticity?
Well, actually, I gave you a thumbs up.
Or what does it mean to be? I'll say, what does it mean to be authentic?
Well, first the thumbs up was because, okay, now she's going to send me a description of what this means because I have no idea what the message she's trying to portray. So that's what I was waiting for, even more information about. What is authenticity? So your question to me is, again, what do I think authenticity is? Is that what the question was? I can't see you.
What does it mean to be? When you see an authentic person, how do you know that they are?
Wow, you changed the question. So okay, when I see a person, how do I know they'll be authentic?
Yes.
For me, this is just for me. As I said, my spidey senses go off. There's something to go. I either know to trust you or not to trust you through my spiritual intuition, because I don't judge anybody. But if it makes me feel uncomfortable, it's like, okay, there's something more to this person, but I'll find out eventually. But in general, it's a perception. Who are we to say when somebody's being authentic? Because you can hide anything. There's a lot of knockoffs out here, that you think you're buying the genuine thing, especially diamonds, and it's not a real diamond. But your perception of the value of the person is up to you. Some people can say, I don't believe them, they're not being real. Some people can say, oh, yes, that's who they are. But either way, over time, the true person eventually will come out. So for me, like I said, my spiritual sense would even say be leery of how close you get to them or what is coming next, because all of us never give all of us immediately. We always hold something back about us. The most jovial person, comedians, people who laugh all the time, they're hiding something. They don't want to admit it. confronted it and they're not conquering it, but nobody's happy all the time and everything is not funny. But then on the other hand, some people are just like that angry cat, bless his heart, that died. They look like they're angry at the world because they've been hurt so much, but in reality, a very kind person. So being authentic is a perception that each person has the ability to do towards someone else. That's my opinion.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And you know, when you think about something as what ought to be simple, being yourself, that ought to be. But in society, in a culture, you have lots of things pulling on you to keep you from being authentic. And one of those is models of things, models. So I was reading about a woman who is a tremendous talk show host. She's very popular. And she said that when she was asked to do it, she did not look at any talk shows because she wanted to do her own thing. She wanted to craft it herself. And so when she met with her production staff, she told them, forget everything that you have seen and heard concerning talk shows. We're going to do a new thing. And it took them about a year to trust her and now she's extremely popular. But that took a lot of courage. Are you there?
I am, but I wanted you to log off and log back on because you had froze and now it's totally black. So I was waiting for you to finish.
Okay.
If you could just go off and come back on, just one second, please.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Hello? Okay. Oh, she's gone again. Well, technical difficulties are not unusual when it comes to doing anything live. So we're going to give her a minute to get resituated. But being authentic, again, is a perception. You have to decide if you believe the person is being real or not. But then again, what is being real? Your authentic self may not be what somebody think you should be. So you have to decide, number one, the perception that you want somebody to have of you, or you have to decide how you want to perceive a person. It's all about choices, and whether there's a level of comfortability with that person or a level of dis-ease with that person. It's still a choice. So being your authentic self is a loaded question, but I think what she's trying to get at is when, like Archie would say, stifle it. How many of us are stifling our authentic self, trying to mimic something that we're not, trying to mimic something that we I guess you'd say idolize, try to mimic something that other people think we should become. So are you being your authentic self? Who are you? Somebody asked me, who was I? And I said, do you want to know who I am or who I represent to others? Who I represent to others is a mother, daughter, friend, minister, whatever. That's who I represent. But who am I? And my response was spiritual. I'm a spirit being having a human experience. Who am I? I am a child of the King. I had a spiritual response because I identify with who I am spiritually to who I am as a person. Who are you identifying yourself with? Do you understand your authentic self? Do you have an explanation? Can you describe your authentic self? Okay, so she's back. Yeah, I see you.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, what happens?
Well, this is the glitch hour apparently because I had my prompts on my screen and my screen went black also behind my phone. So now I have paper instead of a screen, but we can go on. So let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, no, where were we? Authentic.
You asked me my opinion of being authentic, and then we had a glitch. Okay.
Right. And then so we said, there are models everywhere. And for this woman, and I won't say who she is, but she did a new thing, and because she had a new slant on an old thing, a talk show, her ratings have soared, and she's one of the highest, most publicized and watched. So you have to take a risk to be authentic, because if you don't, you will try to follow a model, and you won't release your true self. Now, I want to commend you because right after our first video, I said to you, okay, give me some pointers. What do I need to work on? And you said, just be yourself. That is very freeing. I've tried it in other ways. You've probably tried it too. You know, you show up as authentically and positively Ms.B. And because you show up that way, I'm free to show up that way. And, you know, cats and black screens and whatever, we can go on. Okay.
It is
So
what it
that's
is.
not always, yeah, that's not always true. So one of the things you have to do to be authentic is accept imperfections. So a perfectionist is a very unhappy person because they are trying to prove something and they aren't accepting who they are. So one of the persons that I met, I'll say, as I was doing some research on this, is a doctor named, well, he's got a PhD in clinical psychology. His name is Joe Oliver, and he's out of the University College London. And he said, you know, one of the problems that we have with mental health is that people have been pushing self-esteem, boosting self-esteem. And he said, self-esteem is not what you think it is. It's not just being told all the time that you're doing well. Self-esteem is, and he said, and it also has many drawbacks because it's not even linked. When they do studies, self-esteem is not linked to productivity. Self-esteem is linked to something that we see a lot now: narcissism. Narcissism, people being into themselves, not being able to see anything from other people's point of view. You getting maybe a personality that we see on the political scene. Okay, narcissism, and this can lead you to, you know, because you want to keep this concept of I'm all that, even though you haven't produced anything. Then you can't say I'm sorry. You can't say my bad. You know, you can't say forgive me. None of those things are available to you because you've got this perfectionist and I'm all that, and I don't even have to earn the self-esteem that others have poured on me. So, what do you do instead of stoking your self-esteem or somebody else's? You teach acceptance. Accept yourself. Accept yourself and forget about other people's opinions and strive to be true to who you are in your inner self.
You know, Angela,
And that's very releasing.
I didn't mean to cut across you, but you know, today has been a very exceptionally blessed day. 7 o'clock this morning, I received a call from someone that never calls that early, and it was with good news. At 8 o'clock, someone went live on Facebook, and it turned out it was a video dedicated to me.
Oh.
The third thing that happened was I got a call. I had to resign from doing my co-hosting from 6 to 9, and the person that was the host gave me a call saying that they will receive me as a permanent co-host no matter what I decided to do. I got another call. In other words, I got a lot of confirmations, but guess what? I know you chose this topic way before today,
Yes.
but you're speaking directly to me because in the 5 years of being on the network, I've had 64 years of not being authentic.
Okay.
I have always tried to please other people, prove myself, be accepting, and also walking in denial. One of the things that I have been working on as positively Ms.B is being me, a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual realist. And I have grown. But to hear it come from you, explaining it the way that I explain it to other people, I have a message and I have to be authentic with that message. But I don't want anybody to think that I'm perfect. But I don't want to stop striving for perfection.
Right.
But the point is, you have shown me that I am improving. I am becoming to understand more about who I am, because that's why I gave you that definition. It's my perception of who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
who I am is strictly spiritual. And when I present myself spiritually, everything else fall in place. So thank you for this message. I will do my best not to interrupt you, but it was at
Oh,
a
no.
time that I needed the confirmation. And again, what does it have to do with limited resource awareness? Well, financially, I surely could do better, but I've been a victim of verbal abuse. I've been around a lot of physical abuse. I've been around a lot of substance. I've been around a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I never really stood up for myself. And when I started standing up for myself, then it was like, you got issues. And one of the and this
You're
is
doing
very
the
important.
unexpected, and it's like stifle.
That's what I was getting ready to tell you, listeners. When she, as she moves on with her message, I want to tell you something. And they have transitioned, but I'm being honest with you. I've had a lot of parental figures, but my biological parents and my last parent that I lost, they wanted me to stifle myself. One of the things that hurt me the most was when I lost my mom. And I tried to justify his statement, but I couldn't. I was sitting on the front row and they were removing the casket and I started crying. And he told me to get myself together. And I lost it in front of everybody. I said, that's
Wow.
my mother. You don't tell me to get myself together. And throughout my life, people have been telling me, stifle it,
Mm-hmm.
stifle it. That's not you. They're using you. You can't do this. You're not this, blah, 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 blah. And after she transitioned, I still was his caretaker. And out of respect, admiration, and endless love, there was a lot of times that he tried to stifle me. And I did, because I felt I needed to respect. Yes, daddy. Whatever you say, daddy. Okay, daddy. I'm here to tell you her message today is the most powerful one I've heard her have. And she's had some good ones. Maslow's hierarchy really got my attention. But this one right here, if you don't listen to anything else, whether you're going through domestic abuse, any type of violence, any type of limited resource, whether you're homeless, jobless, I don't care what you're going through. Don't stifle yourself. And if you don't know who you are, take time to find out who you are. And if the description that you find you don't like, then change it. As for me, I'm not going to say now that my parental figures are gone, because there were other people that I still tried to please, including my last set of podcasters. At 65 years old, I use scriptures to justify being manipulated, being stifled.
Mm-hmm.
Stop making excuses. Find your authenticity and hold on to it. That's my message. I apologize, but this is a very powerful message and I had to release. And I don't believe in feeding anything I don't eat to anybody. So I wanted you to see the authentic Ms.B.
Yeah, thank you. And you know what you said about being uh decades of trying to fit a model or not knowing who your authentic self was. That is the story of most of us. And we don't have to have been abused, I don't think, to have fallen into that hole. I know it was true of me. I'm an ordained minister, but you know, for years I listened to ministers that I applauded and loved, and they all had a voice I didn't have. So I didn't see myself as a minister, and it took somebody who freed me to be who I was. Just to Everybody breaks the word differently. God made each of us a vessel, and we may not, none of us reach everybody. Paul didn't reach everybody, and Peter didn't reach everybody. But they had a mission. And between my husband and my pastor and Ms.B, I have had a lot of be yourself and accepting of that. And so when, unfortunately, most of us have to have somebody accept us for who we are before we can accept ourselves for who we are. But so I'm glad you said all you said, because what I really wanted to do was do a lot more dialogue with you about this. When I was a kid in the 50s when TV came out, and then I read several books about what was going on psychologically, because I'm a psychology major. And one of the things was that when in the 50s, standards rose for your house, the orderliness of your house, the cleanliness of your house, the decor of your house. We saw people in commercials, women shampooing their carpet with heels and dress and nylons on. Do you remember that?
Yeah. What in the world? I'm like, who created that?
Right. We
On the
didn't
cute
even
little
know enough to
aprons. Let's not
laugh.
forget the aprons.
We didn't know enough to laugh. But so that was correlated, this standard, because I mean, you were never in anybody else's bedroom, but via TV, we were in people's bedrooms and living rooms and kitchens. And that's just one aspect of it. How they projected themselves also was another. But seeing TV models was the beginning of a kind of an era of keeping up with the Joneses. And there's a stress involved in not being yourself. People who can't be themselves outside of their home, when they come home, all that has been tamped down, and they may be explosive. They may be exhausted. They may be depressed, because it's a hard work not being yourself. So there's a lot of mental health issues related to not being yourself. Getting back to the commercials, a lot of people in my generation, we didn't know we were poor, but we saw other people on TV, and now we don't measure up, right? And so stress increases. So what this clinical psychologist in London is saying, and he's got several books written, Dr. Joe Oliver, is that we've got to accept the fact that instead of having people attain to something called self-esteem or do something to require it, we need to accept intrinsically the worth of the individual. And that begins with parent and child, doesn't it? That's our first message of who we are. So, when whatever your child has an affinity for, whether it's a ball or a book, appreciate that affinity and enjoy it, and hone that skill or desire in him or her. So we have to accept our imperfections and surround ourselves with positivity. And so that's why you are positively Ms.B, because that's what you want to bring to others. you know. Um, and you can do that with posters and positive messages and quotes and of course the people around you. You know, negative people do not belong in the front row of your life, and sometimes they don't even belong in the auditorium.
Absolutely.
You make
And
you
let
make
me
the
just say
judgment.
this. That's
Go
important.
ahead. Yes.
When you said the auditorium, so many people are afraid to admit there's negativity, not only in the living room, the bedroom, but in the auditorium. You have to decide what you want to expose yourself to, but who also. I don't care if it's your uncles, aunts, brother, sister from down the street. If they're bringing negativity, you can love them from afar.
Yes.
Relationships, you have a choice in the relationships that you allow yourself to become a part of, involved in, or remove yourself from. Don't let a position cause you to be miserable because you respect the position that the person does not respect themselves. Let me just make this clear. I don't care if it's your children, your
Mm-hmm.
parents, I don't care what the relationship is. If they can't respect the relationship that they're supposed to have with you, stop respecting the relationship because that person is bringing you down. So if you need to say, "Hey ma, how you doing?" She goes in, you say, "I love you, I'll talk to you later." And that's it. If you go visit daddy and daddy is like acting, cray cray, drunk, cussing you out, "Dad, I just came back to see how you're doing." Always honor your parents. After then, whether it's children or whatever, I call it keep it moving. Kim is my best friend. Hey, you're responsible for your behavior. I'm responsible for my response to it. So if you want to act like that, obviously you need prayer. Lord, forgive them. Because if they truly knew you, they wouldn't do the things that they do. So I ask you to lift them up, and I'm going to separate myself because I'm not going to let anybody block my blessing and take me to a level where I don't need to be. And I've had to learn that over the years. So guess what? Kim is my close friend. I'm not gonna say my best friend. She's very close to me. Keep it moving. Click up my husband to tell you. If I see the tone of the conversation is going somewhere, he gets silence and he's used to it. And then when we talk to each other again, we keep it moving. We don't bring it back. I don't allow myself. I won't. I'm sorry. Understand this. We have choices in our relationships. We have choices in what we allow ourselves to be exposed to. We have choices to find our authentic self and not be mimicking or stifling who we are because of our need to have love from somebody else. Love the love of yourself more than you love the love from somebody else. Because when you love the love from somebody else, you forget to love yourself. That's all I got to say.
And that reminds me of what we've talked about once before, which is when Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." The implication, even mathematically, is you can't love your neighbor any more than you love yourself. So
And if
you're
you don't
doing
know how to love
everybody a
yourself,
favor.
girl, I'm
Doing
sorry.
everybody a favor by loving yourself.
Boom. That's it.
That's right. So I was talking about Joe Oliver, and so what do we put in place of this self-esteem that we've kind of blown up to? You don't trample on somebody's self-esteem and whatever, but confronting your fears is what validates you, is what makes you feel good. When you asked me to do a podcast, it's not anything I would have chosen to do. I really like, and my board knows this, I really like being behind the scenes. And they keep saying, "You're the face of the organization." And and I wanted to tell you too that you made me so grateful when what you were talking about with positive people, because our board is some tremendously positive, and that
Oh,
doesn't keep us from being from looking at all sides of the things that come before us. And so it's just a pleasure. I used to be nervous when we would have a board meeting because I wanted to get everything right. Well, now I know I don't have to get everything right. They got my back. They're going to ask questions and then I'll know what else to add. And it's just an enjoyable time. And that's the way life should be. because we accept our imperfections and we realize that other people are going to bring valuable stuff to the pot. We don't have to have it all tied up with a bow and wrapped. So confront your fears, and that boosts your confidence, and it makes you feel proud of who you are and what you are capable of. That is what really self-esteem is about. And it's not about artificial, say it. Sometimes we just lay it on so thick with kids, and they might not even tried to do anything well. And we say, "Oh, that's so good. You're an artist, aren't you?" I don't know. We just say stupid stuff, and they don't even, it doesn't even penetrate them as real, because it's not authentic. So this Joe Oliver has an alternative to this self-esteem roller coaster, snowball, I guess, that we have lived with. And that is, he said, it's ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. So he teaches, and he's dealing with people who have clinical issues, mental clinical issues, that you accept yourself and then you commit to being who you really are. And that means moving up a level. Everybody, everybody reaches. That's what it means to be human, is to reach, and not stagnate. So I really had another question for you too.
Uh-oh.
What's the opposite of self-acceptance?
Oh, you changing, this is my 5th year and you changing up your program. I'm supposed to change. Oh, Lord. Okay. But I appreciate that, because that's what this is all about. This is your show. I'm just giving you a platform, but what's the opposite of
self-acceptance?
I'm applying it to me first. The opposite of self-acceptance is being whoever somebody else thinks you should be. I'm not going to say anything about how other people look at it, but the reason why I couldn't accept myself, because I was too busy trying to please and fit in a certain perception of who I'm supposed to be. I'm going to give you an example. Since you want some interaction, let me give you an example. And this is, like I said, a lot of my family members are transitioning, but some of them haven't, and they're in the backyard looking at me. So I know they're going to see this video. They don't comment, they don't support, but I know they're watching me. But I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't accept who I was because I was so busy trying to be who I thought they wanted me to be. I've had my own family members say, "You're not like us. What's wrong with you? You're different. We never could understand you." Blah, 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 blah. And that hurt me so bad. And so I did so many things that I thought, well, surely if I act like this. So I'm going to be honest with you. I was by birth the only child to my mother and my biological father. And I wanted certain members of my family to be more to me than they wanted to be. So I wanted to be accepted. So let me tell all of you out there who are finding it hard to be your authentic self. This could be why. Surely if I started to use profanity, surely if I started going to parties, surely be honest, if I slept around more, I wanted to be like them because I wanted to be. So I did things that they did thinking it would make me more like them. And that didn't happen. And I was always left out of family events. People would say, "I didn't see you at so-and-so's party." I'm like, I didn't know they had one. And that went on and on and on. And then it came to wanting to be accepted by my professional community. I stopped there because as a nurse and a nurse supervisor, I couldn't compromise that. And so because I didn't compromise, didn't want to fit in, I had to watch my back because I didn't act like they did. My integrity was more important than being friends and the health and welfare of my patients. The third thing that got me was like you had no idea you were going to be doing a podcast and videos and all of this stuff. Neither did I. I had no idea this was going to happen. And so once I became a part of this newbie crowd in a big business that I knew nothing about, I was vulnerable and gullible. Everybody knew I was new. Oh, Ms.B, you should do this. Ms.B, you should do that. Your color should be this. This is your logo. And why don't you do this? And I was like, wait a minute, that ain't me. What in the world? And then they turned on me because I didn't click with what they thought I should do. And I've had more than one person, even recently, say, we're all in this together. I'm very independent. I will support you, but don't control me because I communicate with you. And so those are the three things that kept me from being authentic: my family, my profession, and now my ministry. So I think what Angela is trying to get all of us to see is be careful how you allow yourself to be influenced by others and thus blocking who you are authentically. But you can't be authentic if you don't know who you are. And I tried to frame who I was based on my family's acceptance. My family meant more to me than anything. And so I had to learn, especially when I got into the professional community, you don't compromise who you are to fit in. They accept you who you are, or you realize they're not for you anyway. So don't compromise who you are just to have a family relationship or to be in a clique or to be in a sorority. I'm not going to do that. And that's especially now with a global ministry. I can't fit in. I have to be who my father designed me to be, the message that he gave me. I have to stick to it. Whether it's a bald head and someone said, oh, you wear all the same colors all the time, because that's who I am. And if you don't like it, don't watch me. I'm just saying. So I don't care if you want to be, whoever, be who God created you to be, accept your individuality, and don't feel rejected. And I'm going to leave with this note. I'm never rejected. I'm corrected, redirected, and protected. Whenever something happens, it's not about denial. He's protecting me. He said, you don't need to be involved in that situation. That person has been removed. You don't have to do anything about it. He corrects me. I sit down and say, okay, what did I did? What did I do wrong? What I need to do different? Redirected. I did not need to be the co-host of somebody else's show when he's been telling me for years, I need to have my own online live talk show. I've been somebody else's station director 3 different times. I've helped them load shows on there. So what he's done is giving me those skills to be who I need to be. So now I'm redirected to have my own live talk show. Why do I need to always bring somebody else's business up? But that's just me. That's the opposite. Emulating what other people think you should be instead of finding out who you are and be true to yourself. Don't stifle yourself.
Right.
I talk a lot, don't I? You just don't ask me a lot of questions because I talk.
No. Well, you have the really good examples because I was listening to you and thinking, how many people are in prison because they were modeling after somebody else instead of who they were, or are in mental institutions, or are in unhealthy relationships, which brings you nothing but sickness and early death. And then the other thing you said was you're never rejected. And that is what we know from our Father. Our Father does not reject us. He's married to the backslider, right? He doesn't reject us. He redirects and he corrects. He nurtures. And he gave us that unique set of, I guess, a nurse might just bring it down to DNA, but there's so much of, God's spirit is unique in each of us, but each of us, our spirit reflects who he is. And so who lights a lamp and puts it under a bushel?
Man, let me tell you something.
Right.
You didn't ask this. I know, but you got me started. You didn't open up this Pandora's box. I got to say something. Everybody listen. This is very important. You're absolutely right. We're supposed to be his light. On my network, there's a young lady who, her name is Karen KJ Johnson. She's a brand specialist. She comes on every Monday at 7 p.m. on the Storm Radio 24/7 Facebook page. What has this got to do with what Angela's talking about? You know, back in the day when Pam Perry was talking about branding, I kept saying, I'm not a cow. You ain't not going to brand me. I don't do all of that stuff. That ain't got nothing to do with it. And I never fell into that brand. Oh, what's your brand? I just stayed. You start talking about that, I'll leave you alone. But let me tell you something. This woman of God, Karen KJ Johnson, she broke down branding to me. Well, I cried. So let me tell you, you want to know who you are? She said branding,
Right.
boldly representing authentically the name of the divine Father. Let me tell you something. From cooking to cleaning to how I talk to my dogs, the Holy Ghost was, are you branding? Are you boldly representing authentically the name of the divine Father? You want to go around and call yourself, I'm a follower of Yeshua, I'm a child of the King, I'm blah, blah, blah. But what are you doing? How are you carrying yourself? How are you handling yourself? So you want to know who I am? I'm boldly representing authentically the name of the divine Father. I'm a child of the King. I'm an heir to the throne, covered by the blood of Jesus. I am walking according to the will of the Lord. I can go on and on. But you know what? I take that everywhere I go now. Am I branded? Am I branded? What am I representing? So if you want to know who you are authentically, ask yourself, are you branding for the followers of Yeshua? Are you branding? Are you carrying yourself in a manner that gives him all honor and all glory? Do you understand it's more important to believe who he says you are than to believe who he is? Because he knows who he is. But if you don't believe who he says you are, you can't believe who he is because you self-doubting who you are. Okay, let me stop. I got to preach in me. Oh, Lord Jesus, I got to preach in me.
Yeah. We're like point counterpoint. But you know, so that tells me that, you know, Jesus said, let your yea be yea and your nay nay. And which means you don't have to say a whole lot, right? What you say yes to and what you say no to pretty much brands you. But if when we get into when we find out who we are, and of course we're always it's a process. We're always finding out more and more about who we are, but that's when we touch the divine in us. And every time he opens another area of this is who you are, this is what you can do, that is an area that he's touched, and you're released, you're able in that area. Areas that you don't touch who you are basically disabled. You'll always be the also ran. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit. I asked you what's the opposite of self-acceptance, and comparing ourselves to others is what is the opposite of self-acceptance. And you touched on that. That when we compare ourselves to others, we rank ourselves. Ooh, you know, he's really good at that. I don't do that well. Um, and you know, even though, and you know, the thing is, we're taught this in our schools. That's what our whole school system is about, is giving grades. Somebody's got the A and somebody's got the F, and it's all on a bell curve. And what does that teach our children? Because they know where they are on the bell curve, even if they don't see the whole class there. They got a sense of their ranking. And for most of them, that ranking is saying you won't be successful. You're not in the top whatever. So the school systems that I like are the ones that unleash who the person is and honor that. So when we compare ourselves with others, we're ranking ourselves, and that is discouraging. And it creates self-doubt in us. And self-doubt makes us ungrateful for what we do have. And then we don't use it. We stifle it because we're not even looking at it. We're looking at what we're not good at. I had a wonderful young writer when I was in Petersburg, teaching at Petersburg High School, who, I had given them an assignment and he was writing and he said, "I'm not a good writer." And I said, "Why do you say that?" He says, "Well, I don't spell well." I said, "You know what? There are wonderful writers who are published that have somebody else correcting their spelling." That was before spell check. You have ideas and you put them on paper, and that's what a writer does. And I'd much rather read your paper with your ideas than somebody who's trying to fill up one page because it was a one-page assignment. And they tell you what they want. They think that they want you, the teacher, to hear. And that's how some of us live our lives. We got to fill this up. And I'm looking for who's going to read it, who's going to look at it, what they're going to say about it. So it creates self-doubt and it makes us not feel worthy, and that limits our potential. So another title I had for this was Potential Part 2.
I can see that.
We'll never reach our potential if we don't find our authentic selves.
Okay.
And then, what are we looking at? We're looking at people who, comparing ourselves to others. That will always focus us on our mistakes and our failures. And when we do that, we kind of think that if we are content with what we've achieved or who we are, or we're celebrating it, that maybe we'll just stagnate. But that's not true. We have to celebrate our victories. And that gives us more energy to do the next big thing or the next little thing, right? So I know we're wrapping this up, but growth depends on living up to our ideals. And if we're trying to follow in somebody's footsteps or get their approval, we're not living up to our ideals. And we're not going to grow. That's what stagnation is trying to please somebody else. Self-esteem doesn't grow us. If we're talking about the kind of self-esteem of, I feel good about myself because they pat me on the back. Self-esteem, the real self-esteem is, I feel good about myself because of the effort I put into what I do and the results I see. Right? And we have a culture now where a lot of kids really don't have anything to do. They don't have a bed to make, or trash to take out, or a lawn to mow, or or groceries to pick up, or whatever the age appropriate thing is. But even a child just starts to glow when you sing the cleanup song to them. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share. Okay? I'm teaching preschool now at our church, and I'm loving it. And these kids are so authentic, That's if you want to know what you really are, you look at a child and remember your childhood, or ask somebody who remembers your childhood, what did I love to do? What was I like? So anyway, courage is where authenticity is. The rubber meets the road. If you have courage, then you are authentic, because the opposite of courage is not being courageously living out your ideals. Courage is more noble than confidence because it takes more effort and it takes more strength. And a courageous person is one with, and I'm trying to read this word. A courageous person is one with limitless potential. That's it. Limitless potential.
I love that.
Yeah.
Being authentic requires you to have courage and recognize your limitless potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that closing.
You
I
just
love
keep
that.
on living.
Just keep on living. All right. I
That's
love that.
right.
And thank you for allowing me to share and get people to
Oh, yeah.
understand that I am authentic. It is what you get. I had to go through
And
the ropes
so,
to get it, but here I am.
so as our relationship of sharing continues, this becomes easier and easier, and I'm not stressed. Even when the cat scratches and the black and then the screen goes black, right?
No,
Because it's
no,
okay to be imperfect
that's not
and just
allowed.
show up, show up.
That's not allowed. That's exactly right. Because even when
Yeah,
I turn into a podcast, I know how to edit certain things. So the main thing is show up and be your authentic self. The message is more important than the visual. They can still hear you
that's
if
right.
they can't see you. And so every month you get deeper and deeper, but also I notice a level of comfortability. And that's what I want you to be, who you are. People, not only that, and we're getting ready to go, but for you to be the CEO of Yeshua's house. Like they said, you are the face, even though Yeshua is the name, you are the face of Yeshua's house. And for them to see you once a month with a new message, they're getting to know you. It's not just representing, Yeshua's. They get to see you and you draw them in to offer more support for Yeshua's house. And not only that, because I put you on a podcast network, they get to hear you. They can be in India and hear you and say, I want to see her once a month. I like what she's saying. Can I sow a seed of $5? So the importance is for them to connect to you. And I am appreciative of you allowing me to share your message because you have a lot to say and you know how to connect the dots and you know how to bring things out of me that I normally wouldn't share. So it's a win-win situation. Is there anything you would like
It
to say
really is.
before we leave?
Yeah, well, I want to thank you for seeing something in Yeshua's house that you wanted to profile, and for we have to be we could be authentic in one area and still be trying to fill in somebody else's dots in another. And so for you to release me to do this was another step in my reaching my potential. So yeah, thank you for supporting Yeshua's house, and I hope everybody will what did I do? Okay, I hope everybody will know. Look, I'm ready. Yeshua'sHouse.net. Whoops, can you see it?
Yeah, you
And we
too.
have if if you go to Yeshua'sHouse.net, you will see that you can donate through PayPal, and Cash App is $ Yeshua's House. Okay.
Look at her. She
Thank
is
you.
growing up. Look at every let me
Yeah.
tell you. I know we got 1 minute left, but I just want to say this. I am nervous every time I turn this camera on. I am nervous every time. And my facial expressions talk too much. I need to learn how to just smile because I'll be like, my facial expressions gives it away and it may be misunderstood. But I want to tell everybody right now in the third day of my 6th year, going into my 6th year, Yeshua's house is the honorary sponsor. Let me just say this. They have not given me one dime for this. They're not buying any airtime or nothing. I am doing this out of the kindness of my heart. Yeshua's house is the official sponsor of the limited resource awareness podcast ministry. So moving forward, I'll be making commercials, adding them to anything that comes on the Limited Resource Awareness Podcast Network, and they will have a spot. They have not donated anything. There's no money transaction. This is from me to them to give the exposure to get financial support. So that's from me to you, Miss Angela. I love you. I love you with all my heart. I sincerely want to support the houses and you, and I call him Mr. Brown. But if there's anything else I can do, but ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know, don't get it confused. They got all that money to buy sponsorship. No, that's why I'm doing it, because they need the money. So, all right, everybody. Is that okay with you, Angela?
That's great. Your support is priceless. Thank you, friend.
You're welcome. All right, everybody.
Have a
This
great
is
sixth year.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. www.stormtalk365radio.com. Limited Resource Awareness right there on Facebook. Join us back here. The first Tuesday of every month was Angela Brown, CEO of Yeshua's House. All right, everybody. Have a blessed day, and thank you so much.
Amen.
Amen.